Hi, Hayden here, and this video is about the continuing experimental videos that I'm doing for uploading things to YouTube in a most effective and efficient manner. What I really like about using my Canon XH-A1 camera, which is not the camera I'm using, I'll come back to that in a second, but the Canon XH-A1 was my professional camera. It's a prosumer camera, but it was my professional camera because I earned money with it and it paid for a lot of things. It was a very good camera. And I used it for a good number of years, and it's been a phenomenal camera. However, it used FireWire as the main output, and even my video recorder that I was capturing video on was in the Focus Enhancement's FS4 Pro. Focus Enhancement sold up into another company, and the FS4 Pro and the FS4 Pro line and the unit that replaced it have long been no longer in manufacture. So the technology has really passed me by with that camera. And even though at this very moment, at the very moment of this video recording, I'm actually uploading a test video that I shot with the XH-A1 to see how viable it could be as a full-time studio camera. I've sort of kind of had it sitting here as a full-time studio camera, but I need to really justify if it's time to really retire the camera, put it in a camera museum that I have, or to just, you know, if I can make use of it, that's great. Otherwise, it's going to be time to retire that camera and move on. The thing is that the process of editing the video, it's not that much longer, okay? Because I built a new computer. It does very, very well on editing. I designed it. I made the specifications for it. I picked out all the individual components and I assembled it, and I made that video online here. It's in the, my Ray's computer build playlist. And but even using the more primitive technology, it's not that much longer to get my video edited and submitted up to YouTube or anything, because this camera and the old camera, even though it's an old camera, I was kind of using the modern process for years. I was digitally recording the video to an external hard drive. I was connecting that hard drive to my computer and not moving files, but just editing the files from the hard drive onto my computer hard drive and creating the new final video thing. So I hope that makes sense. It's like you're using the components to build the model, you know, the final rendered version, but it doesn't destroy. It's non-destructive video editing. The original files are perfectly fine. They just make a new file using the old files. So it's non-destructive video editing, and it's just an incredible thing. I've been using it for years, before the mainstream cameras even were using that. And now everybody has it. But these cameras here, we record on a card that fits in a little case about this size, and that's the SDXC card. And my video packages have gotten smaller, but not really all that much smaller. You know, like you might go to a video a place or some kind of an event where you'll see video cameras set up, and these people have a whole lot of equipment. Now, if they're, you know, run and gun type video at an event, or event videographers, they might not have a whole lot of equipment, but they still have, you know, microphones, they got cables, they got all this stuff going on. And if they're more of a semi-studio thing, like what I do, they'll have a lot of equipment. And, you know, all this like lighting and everything, I don't even bring lighting with me. Unless I know I'm going to a really dark environment. There's like one professional, I have to go to his office, and his office is like a cave. It's very dark. So I need to bring 1 or 2 lights with me just to brighten up the entire room. It's just pitch black. The other problem is he has computer monitors behind him, and so the room is dark, but you have bright lights behind him, so it's a backlit situation as well. So I need to offset that with some other lights. But other than that, every single other job I have, unless I know it's going to be a dark environment, I don't even bring lights. This camera does very, very great in low light situations, but almost all of, you know, 99-point-something% of the videos that I shoot are in an office environment, and the ceiling lights from the offices are more than good enough, and this camera will be able to pull a really great image. It's actually blown my mind a few times on how good the images can be, because I'm like, I'm just not getting that. And I bring it back to the editing suite and I put it on the big screen. I'm like, oh my God, I got a great shot. This is just a fantastic video. And I'm just surprised myself with how good this camera can do when it's got a professional operator behind it. I'm kidding. Anybody who really cares about the video they shoot could have got the great shots that I've gotten with this camera, and it's just done an incredible job. However, one of the things I've really been fantasizing about for a good long time, ever since I had my Asus Zenfone 2, was using a cell phone, because this camera has a 64 gigabyte SDXC card in it. This card has a 128 gigabyte micro SDXC card in it. So I can actually record, except for the battery, I can record more video on this camera than I can on my video camera, and far more video than I can record on my professional cameras that I've had in the past. The 128 gigabyte it's a game changer. And also the SDXC and a micro SDXC, if you look at the parameters that they have for that format, they go up to 2 terabits. So, you know, I mean, we haven't even scratched the surface of what they can put on these cards, unless they abandon the format for something else later on. They very well could, but we might very well see 500 gigabyte, 1 terabit and 2 terabit SDXC cards, or micro SDXC cards, which would be just a very exciting thing. Then we just need to be able to power our device long enough to be able to use it. And that's where this really comes into effect over here. I brought this up in a couple of other experimental videos. This is just a battery pack to extend the life of your, you know, cell phone or your tablet or whatever you might have, and your battery is running a little low, you need a little bit more juice, you just plug that in and off you go. You're cooking with gas. So that's, you know, another one of the things I'm playing around with. This camera here, I'm going to set it up in a couple of days and set it up like for a professional shoot, like what I do for a living. And I'll set it up in my office here, and I'll show you, you know, what I can get at it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot that video on my cell phone, and I'll probably use my main camera, but I might use my front-facing camera so that I can use the screen as a video monitor. But even if I'm using the main camera, I can use the video monitor, but then in that case, I won't be on the screen. So we'll see. Maybe I'll play around with a couple of different things. I want to experiment with that. But anyways, this video here is being shot on the Canon Vixia HFR500. It shoots 1080p, and it's a full HD resolution. And it's because of the SDXC card, I have an SDXC card reader, and I just basically take the card out, put it in this little device, plug that into my USB. Now for this process, because it's using the USB, you know, the USB bus rather than using my SSD drive that I have in the editing computer, I actually copy the file over to my computer in that case. Just because I want to make sure everything's in the full digital, no moving parts, no kind of legacy computer technology kind of thing. I want to use the fastest operating aspects of my editing computer I can to make sure I can edit and render the video out to what I want to do to load it up to YouTube. So with that, that should end this video. I'll see you in the next one, where I'm going to use the next experimental video that I make should be the one where I'm experimenting with my cell phone video again, because I really want a lot of experimentation with the cell phone video. I think there's a lot of promise in that going forward. And I'll set up my video equipment that I use in the field and show you just how small the package can be. And a lot of that is due to using the Canon Vixia camera. So with that, until I catch you in the next video, take care and be well.